Game 9 of the Basketball Africa League is going to be mega hot as West African neighbours Senegal and Mali front up here in Dakar as AS Douanes go in search of their first win in the Sahara Conference, locking horns with Stade Malien, who are fresh from their victory over the Kwara Falcons. Mamadou Gueye, AS Douanes, and of course Kaba Kante, Stade Malien. Here are the starting five for AS Douanes. Over to you, Asha.
Just looking at the starting five, you have one change, Samba Fall, who's replaced Terrell Stoglin. Otherwise, the other four are the same. Stade Malien, same starting five. Nothing has changed, Robbie. Makan Keita, Mamadou Keita, Aliou Diarra, Suleiman Bert, and John Wilkins do not change a team that's winning, Robbie. That's what that man, Kaba Kante, is looking at tonight.
Well, let's take a look at this then. Coach K, they call him, he likes his rice. Golden State Warriors, his favorite team, and he would love to visit Zimbabwe. There you have Kaba Kante, the man who is focused. He's on a mission. Opposite him, Mamadou Gueye. Oh, there he is. He's coaching this AS Douanes team. It's the home team here in Senegal, and they are very much focused on trying to get themselves that win. They lost against Reg, 69-55. That was after the opening encounter, 70-76. This is where we stand. Reg with 3 from 3. They're qualified for Kigali. The ABC Fighters in the second position there. They just managed to beat US Monastir at 90-74 to move above them. Stade Malien a fourth with 2 wins and 1 win, of course. And that win against Kwara Falcons obviously has lifted them up into that position. Kwara Falcons down there without a win, AS Douanes without a win, but they played a game less. AS Douanes need to hit back. Tonight's the night, as we heard from Kaba Kante, and they are very keen to get themselves into the driving seat with a victory tonight. But they'll come up against Stade Malien, who will be very keen to try and work their magic as well. Stade Malien go again tomorrow against Reg. Kwara Falcons also up against AS Douanes, who go again for their 4th encounter. So here we are, and just moments away from tip-off. Big battle, neighbours of course, between Senegal and Mali. They know each other extremely well. Afro-basket, local competitions, of course. Usher, I mean, this is such an important game for AS Douanes.
Yeah, talking about AS Douanes and how they've fared so far in this tournament. They need this one. It is a win. It is a must-win game for them. It is a derby, even though some of the players are saying it's just an ordinary game, but they need to deliver. Their fans have come out in big numbers. There's really the best of the best on the court, and you can see Stephanie Baxdell, the crew chief of this refereeing trial tonight, has a lot of experience in the NBA G League that she brings to the BAL. It is her 2nd season there, and it's going to be a huge fixture tonight, Robbie.
Yeah, and I think the news that everybody's talking about is the fact that Terrell Stoglin not in the starting five. There you go. There's one of the key players, Aliou Diarra. His nickname, Aliou. He loves chicken, loved to go to Egypt, and he likes Anthony Davis. So you can understand that, you know, he's got big ambitions to replicate exactly what Davis does in the NBA. Chris Crawford in this squad. No Terrell Stoglin. Terrell Stoglin, 0 points in game 2. A bit of a surprise to not have him in. Well, coach has got to make his decisions, and Mamadou Gueye, you know, he's a serious coach, and he knows exactly what he's trying to do, and he's trying to put together a team that can win.
Yes, absolutely. When you talk about Mamadou Gueye, he has a lot on his plate tonight. He's done the talking. It's now time to play and see if the players can deliver on the court. It's a big night, not just for AS Douanes, but also for Senegalese basketball.
Q, let's go and catch up with Q. We haven't even introduced him properly yet. Q, what do you make of this, and what do you make of this, the AS Douanes team without Terrell Stoglin?
There's a lot of pressure on this AS Douanes team. They need to start well. They need to do a little better than they have in their past 2 encounters. And this is going to be tough. Stade Malien have made an impression in this conference. Let's see what they have to offer.
Chris Crawford in the starting five, and the ball has been picked up here by AS Douanes. They start off, they're playing in white against Stade Malien playing in black, and Fall getting the ball out into the hands of Al-Khali Ndour. They'll have a lot of home support for every phase of attacking play and a good defensive play. Anything that happens, in fact, that's positive for this AS Douanes team, there'll be a lot of noise. Wilkins getting himself into trouble there.
Yes, looking at that replay, very aggressive in that paint, and that's what you need. That's how Barandiai has decided to start this game, with energy, with precision. Let's see if he can deliver from the charity line.
And there is John Wilkins, the American, who has picked up a foul within the first 17 seconds. His father used to play for Utah Jazz, 6 seasons playing for the Jazz in the NBA, Jeff. Oh, there's the eruption from the seats inside of this Dakar arena. And a good rebound, well done, perfect stuff. And a decent defensive rebound as well, working very hard. Barandiai, and there's the layup. Doesn't fall, can't get it up. And out of the thicket, Chris Crawford calls to try and get support from Ochirobia. Ochirobia, who scored that basket earlier. A hanging jump shot from Aliou Diarra. You all want to have his scoring and hot hands today up against this AS Douanes team. There's a lot at stake in this encounter, Usher.
Yes, you talk about a lot of stake indeed. You can see the tension on the faces of the players. They're trying to settle into this fixture. There's noise from the crowd. Could be motivation for AS Douanes or for Stade Malien, for that matter, to just step up and see how they can approach this game.
Makan Keita with a beautiful pair of points there to get Stade Malien their first points on the scoreboard. Crawford.
That is perfect from the Stade Malien captain, Makan Keita.
That's nicely done, beautifully done. Work from Barandiai. Great pass, great vision to find him in that little pocket of space in the paint.
You can see what it means to him and the AS Douanes bench celebrating it. And
long-range three-pointer, how about that? Absolutely stunning effort coming in from Mamadou Keita.
Keita is one of those players that are very key for the Mali national team, and is bringing that experience here to the BAL.
Alkali Tour couldn't quite keep the ball in his hands, which is a little bit problematic there. Ochirobia, Nigerian. And back in the hands of Stade Malien, who will go again. We'll square up 5 points apiece. Ndai and Ochirobia with the points. Long-range effort coming in once again from that man, Mamadou Keita. Keita can't sink the triple. Crawford with a mid-range two. And the rebound, defensive rebound, solid from Aliou Diarra, standout player in their last encounter for Stade Malien. Long-range shot coming in for Wilkins. Off the metal, made safe by Ochirobia.
Well, Rob, you just see that both teams are just trying to see what they can amount to behind the arc.
Well, that was stunning play, wasn't it? Just dropping it, kind of a showing, and then a sneaky little pass into the hands of Ndai, who makes sure that those points go up on the scoreboard.
And talking about Ndai, that's 5 points for the youngster. He's really cruising in this game so far.
Just lost possession there, Suleiman Berté. We're actually really pleased to see him as we see the replay there. Wonderful score. Excellent stuff there from Crawford. We thought he was going to go for a floater over the top, just dropped it in the hands of Ndai, who went for the pair. But they've given possession back to AS Douanes.
Well, seeing what Chris Crawford brings to this AS Douanes side is exactly that. Good eyes in the paint and very aggressive on offense.
Here is the American. It's a very casual way of scoring 2 points. No one really in his face. Just softly flew off his fingers and into his final destination. Berté, he's got a bit of can see he's got the tape on that left shoulder, which is the injury that we were a bit concerned about. If he can get his scoring target found tonight, then they're in trouble, of course. Stade Malien, beautiful score from Crawford. He enjoyed that little moment, so we're going to go and catch up with Q on the other side of the court. Q, getting a little bit of a reaction from what's going on. What are your thoughts so far?
Well, so far, you've seen what can happen when the leading scorer is no longer on the floor. Beautiful play so far from Crawford. He's got to be the primary playmaker. He's their go-to guy. He'll either pass the ball or he'll take the primary shot, but he's been doing good work on the floor for AS Douanes.
Yeah, just making that pass into the pocket with Ndai, just taking the pass there and then scoring himself, really standing out from the crowd. It gives him a chance to literally sort of, you know, stretch his wings a little bit, see what he can do as being the top boy.
Absolutely.
12-5.
Well, Rob, you have to feel the enthusiasm from the AS Douanes players. They're feeling a good vibe. The fans are bringing that energy, and the players are literally taking that into the game, and they're feeling comfortable with that lead.
Just manages all this poor pass, that is, and they've given the ball, and that is a nice layup, beautifully done. You can see that AS Douanes taking full advantage. Sam Mafal, standout player in the run-up to qualification. And look, the fans are out of their seats. We're going to take a break. 14-5, AS Douanes lead. Yeah, welcome back to the Dakar Arena. 14 points to 5, AS Douanes leading Stade Malien, and Chris Crawford putting some points on the scoreboard. Like last game, 15, this game 5. Field goals, 50% this game. Assist, it's early doors, don't get me wrong, 5 minutes in. But, you know, it's already looking pretty good for him.
Absolutely, he is 1 for 1 behind the arc, and that sort of, you know, transition and great, you know, energy that he's bringing in this game is what will be very key for AS Douanes.
And that is a turnover steal. They've got hold of it. Can they find the back of the net? It goes up again. Honestly, it was like netball at one point. Quite crazy stuff. Unable to sink it. The perseverance nearly paying off, but just look at that. A little bit too hard off the boards. There's another chance. 3 attempts, and then a scramble, and then it goes out of play. But they still have... No, they're gonna, it's in fact Stade Malien who get possession. Let's go across and catch up with Q. I'm gonna say Nangadef. I'm gonna speak Wolof with you. Or parlez-vous français, or how's it going?
Well, Mangadev right back, Robbie. I will say this, is that the noise quotient in here has increased dramatically. The home fans are getting involved in it, and it certainly is a factor. I'm not sure how much Stade Malien could hear in that last time out, but they have some work to do, and their 2 primary scorers haven't gotten on the score sheet yet.
Yeah, Diarra Berthe, of course. Paré just there scoring points, and that is beautifully done. Look, they're on a mission. Didn't go in that time, didn't happen, but they've just managed a beautiful pass into the path of Paré. That's 2 baskets in the space of less than a minute. Pretty impressive.
Well, that is impressive from Paré. Coming off the bench and creating such impact is what you need. And Coach Kabakante must be very pleased with Paré.
Points in the paint, 8 and 6. AS Douanes dispossessed. Stade Malien picking up possession. Now they got a chance. Berthe for Diarra! Oh my word! Aliou smash it in big time.
Well, that's a display of bromance that we saw in the last game, especially between Aliou Diarra and Suleiman Belt.
I'm a big believer in telepathic messages, as we discussed in the recent game. They must have heard us, or heard you, Q. Keita over the top. Oh, it's a big 3-pointer for Keita. We're all square at 14 all.
Incredible finish there from Keita. It's his 2nd 3-pointer in this game. He's bringing that experience into this game from the national team. He's also had a great impact on the team in winning the league back home in Mali. And that is just beautiful.
Poetry in motion. Poetry in motion. Stunning basketball here for Stade Malien. And AS Douanes obviously a bit concerned about that. They've just thrown away a 5-6 point lead, and now they find themselves on square level with Stade Malien, neighbours. Mamadou Gueye is calling the timeout. We'll hear from Q in a couple of moments' time, but I think that more importantly, I think we can say that Stade Malien are not here just to make up the numbers. They got that win against Quara Falcons. They came up a bit short against US Monastir, but they went too far behind. Fine fourth quarter that saw them battle back to lose by 10, but a very fine performance. Let's have a look at some of the top stats, Asha.
We're looking at Marcus Crawford with 5 points so far, alongside Barandiai. Samba Fall starting for the first time in the Sahara Conference with 2 points. Osharaiba as well on the scoreboard for Stade Malien. Mamadou Keita with 6 points. Pare off the bench with 4. Makan Keita and Aliou Diarra with 2 each. But it's really impressive to see the rebounds also of Aliou Diarra. 3 on the board. He's always fighting on the other side of the court, just trying to make sure that they maintain the momentum and just stay with AS Douanes. And who knows, they could take the lead.
You just never know, do you? Here is Samba Fall into the hands of Vendour. Crawford out wide, a three. It doesn't. And they just, the ball goes back into the hands of Stade Malien. And let's just have a look at this again. Look, it's, I think it's Cherobia who's just hugging Diarra a little bit too tightly, so that he will make way, and a couple of changes for AS Douanes.
Talking about the changes for AS Douanes, in comes that man, Kaman Malwatch, superstar young player from the NBA Africa Academy, part of the BAL Elevate program.
And the ball flung out wide, Keita for a big long-range shot. It just nearly falls, and there he is, Malawash just making it safe. Crawford around the outside trying to go himself. That is sumptuous play from Crawford, and a fine 2 points there just to push them ahead once again.
Crawford is a man who started this game with good attitude. He has 5 points so far in the game, and the energy, the precision, but also really the urge to just attack the paint just adds so much to this AS Douanes side.
Top scorer for AS Douanes for the time being. That's a nice turn, beautifully done, and the put in there by Diarra, showing us what he's capable of doing. We were very, very impressed by his full range of skills, Diarra, that he definitely has the full set of skills, and he can cover himself offensively and defensively.
Talking about defensively, he's the leading rebounds picker in this tournament so far, 14 rebounds per game, Aliou Diarra.
Keita, it's all opening up for Keita. Oh, look at that block from Malawash, as per usual. We wouldn't expect anything else. Oh, I thought that was going to be something special from Malawash, but he couldn't get his hands on it, couldn't connect.
He had his eyes on the ball. Malawash is such a good energy teenager. And looking at the other side of the court, Malawash with that access denied block to deny Mamadou Keita.
We got Ruben Chomche, who's also the Elevate player, who's on the other side, who will be coming on. And he's an incredible talent too. 1:39 left on the clock. Q, what are your thoughts so far? It's an interesting battle between the two neighbors.
Been very, very interesting, and what the focus was from Coach Papiga is he wants AS Douanes to attack the rim a little bit more and stop settling for outside shots. We've seen a couple from Chris Crawford. He probably has license, but the rest is put the ball on the floor and attack the paint.
Well, you can see there just the charge coming through from Tamanjan Konate. And he'll go to the free throw line.
Well, looking at the last 1 minute of this first quarter, you just get the feeling that both coaches have some players off the bench to give the starters a bit of rest. It's been a high intensity game so far.
possession back in the hands of the local team, AS Douanes. Itching to get that first result, this first win here. Mamadou Gueye underlining the importance of this one. Here's Boissy. Boissy looking very strong. 14 points against Reg, and a real live wire. They might get possession. That's really, really smart play from Mamadou Diop. Just flinging the ball back into the Stade Malien player so that they get possession back.
We're looking at that replay there. Mamadou Diop, very smart decision that he made there to maintain the possession for the Senegalese champions.
That's a long-range shot coming in. Oh, that wasn't far off either. That's been knocked out of bounds. I think they'll get possession again, AS Douanes.
Yes, they do.
So back to 14 seconds, of course, as we see a change for Stade Malien. And off goes Suleiman Berté. He's got that injury on that shoulder, seems to be okay. And Sissouma coming on to replace him. Very calmly done, swinging the ball around. And back out for Crawford, Crawford! It's a beautiful score. 3 points down in the corner.
It is 10 points for Crawford, first player in this game to go to double digits. It's been impressive so far for AS Douanes, and the leader that they expect from a player of his experience.
Well, you've got to step it up. You've got to step it up. You've got to put yourself into, you know, the zone and say, okay, we've had to make adjustments. This is my chance. I've got to shine.
And talking about shining, that's his second three-pointer. Chris Crawford looking good on offense and also on defense.
Yeah, he's holding Konate and he steals the ball. Beautifully done. Sure, it's going to go down. That is a fine layup. And Boissy finishes off a good steal there from Crawford.
It's great teamwork from the two guards, because when you score from transition, it's easy points. It's like the points are literally there for you for the taking.
On a plate, free for all. Crawford's the man. It's 21-17. We're going to take a break. Yeah, welcome back to the Dakar Arena. 21-17. A very interesting tussle, a battle between AS Douanes and Stade Malien, and we're about to get this second quarter going. And we've got that man, Kelvin Amayo, with the ball in it, about to get the ball in his hands and get this show started once again. Here he is, first minutes on court for the Nigerian. Konate. Diarra waits for a little bit of support. Konate comes back just on the outside of the D. And they get the ball back, so it's back to 14. A little bit of lost possession. Crawford doing some great defensive play there. And looks like they're going to get possession if they can settle this. Usher, what do you get on this?
Yes, when you look at the call made by Claudio, the referee, it is Stade Malien's ball. Looks like it came off Chris Crawford.
Yeah, it was a close call, but it's the right call. Crawford, Malouache, Boissy, Diop, and Brian Osei, who's coming on. Matthew Brian Manning, Osei. Into the hands. And taken around. And a chance for them to try and drop a three-pointer in. Diarra, no. And it gives a chance to go over to Q. Practicing linguistic skills again, picking up, you know, all of the bits of information, the details, what's happening from that timeout.
My linguistic skills tell me that the crowd is going to be very important in this one. So you got to keep them at bay, Stade Malien, and the only way they can do that is by playing great basketball. One stat that I must bring to your attention is the 7 offensive rebounds from AS Douanes. They're flipping the script a little bit against a team that's a great rebounding team.
Rebounds are key. I think we saw that with ABC Fighters and their victory over US Monastir earlier on. I think that was the biggest loss for US Monastir in the last 2 seasons, 90 points to 74. They got beaten by Liz Mills, Ivorian fighters. Rebounds being very important indeed. So, how do you deal with that? Well, AS Douanes taking the lead, but you can see that Stade Malien are playing a smart game as well. Offensively, making sure that they're present. The offensive rebounds go in their way. They get the ball back in their hands. Rolls, but it doesn't drop. Malouache makes it safe. Taken forward by Boissy. Chris Crawford still on the floor. Amaning. Nice little turn. That's a beautiful score. Beautifully dropped in there by Matthew Brian Amaning.
Well, Brian Amaning, who is the first Ghanaian to play in the Basketball Africa League, makes history on that front, as we still are yet to see a Ghanaian team competing at this tournament, trying to make a name for himself, Amaning.
Yeah, he actually played alongside Isaiah Thomas, Washington Huskies, so he knows a little bit about playing with the big boys. We know what Thomas went on to do, but it's great to have representatives from all nations across the continent coming here and doing and playing and showing some of the girls and the boys and everybody across the continent around the world how to do it.
Absolutely. Amaning, whose mother is in the stands supporting the SEN, traveling all the way from the UK. Just some commitment, you would say, Rob.
Oh, that's yeah, absolutely. He fell in love with basketball at the age of 4, and he's traveled the world as well. Played in Mexico, France, Serbia, Argentina, and in England for the Cheshire Phoenix. He's in the starting 5 in their opening encounter and getting a chance to score some big points. Here he goes again. He's a live wire, isn't he, when you watch him do his jaunt and race into the D. That's a long-range shot coming in from Crawford once again. Comes back out to Boissy, calming things down. Back to 14, the shot clock. Here's Boissy, turns his man, gets the ball out wide. It's a chance for Amaning. Amaning. Oh! Stunning score for that man.
Well,
brilliant stuff from Mamadou Diop.
Mamadou Diop, obviously one of the experienced players for AS Douanes. He's helped the side win National League titles. And he's been on the bench for the 2 games earlier, but today he seems like he will have more involvement than we've seen in the Sahara Conference this year.
He's busy again. Look at that, there's a steal into the hands of Amaning. Crawford picks it up, slows it down, calms it down. 7:22 left in this first half. Amaning.
It's a big shot there from Amaning, and there was no one to rebound in the paint as Stade Malien picked the possession.
And a chance for Ruben Chokche to come on, and at the other end, look what they're doing. It's another fine score. Mamadou Diop showing us what he's capable of doing, and that's a fine pair of points there. 27-18. All of a sudden, there's a burst of acceleration, burst of adrenaline, and look at the reaction here. Get the fans going. Of course you should.
Yes, absolutely. Picked up that ball, easy layup on the board to make it 4 points for him coming off the bench. That's what you need, especially for Coach Papi, his nickname, the coach of AS Douanes.
Yeah, Q, I just want to ask you, I think there's some stars that are about to be born in this AS Douanes team, because they're playing second fiddle, but as soon as they get a chance to come out and shine, you know, we're getting the likes of Berté and Diarra who are leading away, but behind them, I get the impression some of the youngsters are coming through and saying, I want to do this too.
They've been the primary scorers. You have to figure that they will be scouted. So someone else has got to pick up the scoring for the Stade Malien team. And now, under a little bit of pressure, we will have to find some additional answers. They've been very well defended throughout this first half and a bit.
27-18, 6:40 left in this first half. Berthe will get his hands on the ball. And Kante watches on, and there's another steal. Look at this, he's off again. Malouache trying to keep the ball in play. Very frustrated that didn't lead to anything, but look what Boissy does. Races over, the hand, the pull-up, that basically tells you that this is a team who are working well together.
Very frustrating there for Malouache, who's been improving day by day. He's under incredible program with the NBA Africa Academy in Sali, not so far from here, Rob.
Yeah, that's where they went and they trained with. They stayed down there AS Douanes for a couple of weeks to get themselves into the right frame of mind and into the right physical state. They're charging up court once again. Keita, Berthe, Diarra, number of turnovers 4 to 8, twice as many, and another score. Diarra's the man doing the damage.
That was a bit of a careless pass from Malouache to Crawford, but he got it back. But great sense of defense from Suleiman Berthe.
But the thing is, the points from turnovers haven't been good because AS Douanes have 6 and Stade Malien 5. So despite the fact that they've won those turnovers, they haven't managed to translate into points, which is a problem, Q.
It has been a problem. And if you keep watching the matchups and the way that the coaches are trying to make adjustments, you see Chris Crawford going to be given his first break. One of the points of emphasis when they came out of the timeout was the pick and roll and the isolation for Brian O'Manning. He's got a couple of touches, but hasn't converted, so now they've got to redirect their offensive intent to AS Douanes.
Berthe. Yes, offensive foul there from Berthe, just driving into a Manning who's holding forward.
Looking at that replay there, it seems that the foul was called on Pare.
Yeah, it's a good call there. Thank you, Asha. Malouache dropped into the hands of Manning. Tries to turn. And a little bit of frustration there, as you can see. Mohamed Pare claims that it should have been theirs, but it's not. He commits the foul. And that will be his second foul.
Yeah, it definitely is a worry for the Stade Malien coach, Kante. 2 fouls in less than 1 minute.
Problematic. Here's Douanes. Under a little bit of pressure here in the corner, Boissy. And he commits the foul, Keita. Boissy's really interesting, isn't he? He's got great control and a very fast dribbler. They'll get possession, another foul, 3 fouls in the space of a couple of minutes. Keita picks it up. Macken, Keita.
Boissy brings good energy in this team, especially when replacing Al-Khalidou, who's the starting point guard of AS Douanes. So that's what you need, someone who's good on defense, good on offense, and has good control of the ball.
Talking control, didn't have much there. It was lost, and Stade Malien pick it up down into the corner. There's a travelling call there, and a little slip up. Not the ideal scenario from Soumala Sassouma. We're going to take a break. It's a 7-point lead for AS Douanes here against Stade Malien in Dakar. We'll be back. Yeah, welcome back to the Dakar Arena. We are in for a very interesting tussle, and then we can see the under-20 AFCON champions of Senegal, of course. It's been an incredible year for Senegalese football.
Yeah, absolutely. Just winning everything available in football, the Africa Cup of Nations, the African Nations Championship, which is the CHAN, the under-20, the beach soccer. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely everything. And maybe a FIFA World Cup in the future.
Yep, who knows? Who knows? Why not?
Morocco made it to the semis in Qatar. Off the metal it comes, tidied up, taken forward. Berthe's back on the core. Look at that for an aggressive charge. And the ball just stolen. somehow out of his hands.
We can look at the defense there from Stade Malien. They're trying to raise the energy here and keep up with AS Douanes, but obviously Chris Crawford not having it. And it's 3 personal fouls for Mohamed Pare. Danger. That reads like danger for Stade Malien.
Yeah, definitely. You know, 4:29 left before the end of the first half. I think that's a bit scary, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and we can see a substitution there with Chinyelu Ruben replacing Pare.
Boissy. Long-range shot, big long-range shot coming in from Boissy to say that doesn't fall. And we're 27-20. Berthet with a long-range shot goes the other side of the ring, picked up. Crawford looks for someone, and he has it. That's a very nice piece of play. It's unfortunate that it didn't fall because Malawash would have enjoyed that little moment. Q, let's catch up with Q. Let's find out what's going on with Q. Q, what have you got for us?
Well, if you have a look on Ruben Chinyelo's right eye, he's got a little bit of a covering, and he had picked up a cut, 2 stitches, but he's back in and he's ready to play. It's physical in there, and we're just getting a little sense of what's been going on inside the paint.
Thank you, Q.
And looking at the replay there, Aliou Diarra, foul and basket, and he has an opportunity to make it a 3-point play as Stade Malien try to fight for their lives here. It's a 5-point game. And it is danger for Kaman Malwatch. 3 personal fouls. This doesn't look good.
Yeah, hence the reason why he's just been replaced directly by Mohamedou Diagne. 3 rebounds against Reg. Big guy, good defensive game. Diarra from the free throw line, successful. It's a 4-point game here. And the battle between the neighbours of Senegal and Mali really reaching new levels. Keita just clashing there with Boissy, who loses possession. Keita will pick up the foul, and that will be Keita's first personal.
We're looking at the replay there. Contact between Keita and Boissy. And Boissy has really played a huge role on the offensive side for AS Douanes. Some of the things he does, you can't even really see on the score sheet. But he brings good energy, he has good eyesight of the court, and good ball distribution. As Stephanie Baxdale, the referee, explains to Keita, we have royalty here with the Minister of Sports of Senegal, Yankoba Diatara, having a word with the BAL president, Amadou Gallo-Fall, and right next to him is the man himself, El Hadji Diouf. Everyone remembers him for his exploits in the 2002 FIFA World Cup, where he took Senegal to the quarterfinals in a historic performance back then.
And that came having beaten the reigning champions France from 1998 in their opening game. Memorable, magical.
Magical indeed.
Senegality.
Senegality, regality.
Fraternity.
Absolutely.
28-25, and that was more points for Stade Malien. They're battling hard, Crawford and Cody, to get this right. Boissy just pounces on that pass as he comes up against Bertie, tries to go around him, shot clock down to 10. Crawford out wide, drops it into the path of that man there, Samba Foul, but he can't do anything with it. It's been picked up, and a chance for Bertie to try and launch a 3-pointer. He's in trouble there, and he loses possession. Boissy takes over. Need to calm down a little bit, but that's a good opportunity. Crawford! Absolutely! absolutely smashes it from long range out wide.
His third three-pointer in this game. Crawford looking absolutely incredible. 13 points so far on the board in this second quarter. Just shows you how focused and how necessary it is for Crawford to play well for this AS Douanes team to have a chance of winning this game.
You're absolutely right, and you know, it's players have got to step up. We mentioned Terrell Stoglin. He's not around. Now it's Crawford's chance to come up, fit in with the Senegalese players, fit in with the African players, and try and find his path. And you know what? You know, these players who do get the lucky chance to come and play in Africa and the BAL, who come from outside of the continent, they need to understand how to mix, fit in, play, perform in the way that we know that they can, but also become a team member.
Absolutely. Obviously, Crawford coming in with experience from playing with Slack of Guinea last year and playing for the Patriots of Rwanda in the playoff finals last year. And just getting used to playing on the continent. It's not necessarily the same style in the two other countries, but it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing. Crawford, Samba foul. Endure, long-range shot, goes for it down this side. Ball gets knocked out, they'll get possession back. .213 left in the second quarter. Manning just waiting for foul. Down in the corner. Tries to find his way. He's up against a very busy Chopche who gets in his way in a big way. That's what he does. He gets in your face, makes life extremely difficult.
It is actually good defense from Stade Malien. They've been putting a lot of pressure on the ball, Robbie, and that's sort of what they want to achieve. Get the ball without the foul, and so far it's working for them.
Yeah, he's got to the bench there, but making life difficult for the offensive players. That's what Q used to do. Q.
You give me way too much credit, but you know what? I could play the game. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Q, we have your highlights on YouTube. You can't deny this.
Yeah. How long are they? Oh no, he's going to go and answer that.
Gotta check the VHS cassette.
For everybody who wants to know a little bit more about Q, played for South Africa, played down in South Africa, played in Afro baskets, played around Africa. Oh, that's a wonderful layup, look at that. And a fine score indeed coming in from Kelvin Amayo.
Well, talking about Amayo, he brings good energy. Those are his first points in this game, and you'll be pleased with that, sort of give him confidence going into the defensive side.
2 points with AS Douanes in the lead still. Trying to hold on into the last minute we go. Picked up by Endure. Endure on the outside of the arc. Tries to get rid of his man, goes on a drive. That's nicely done. Very slick. Read the situation very well, and a nice reaction from the bench of AS Douanes.
It's perfect from Alcalin Dur, who replaced Boissy. Boissy was bringing that energy on the offensive side, and Dur just picks up from that and gets those 2 points on the board.
Long-range shot coming in from Tiara, doesn't fall. Crawford picks up to Endure. He's seen a gap, he's dropped it in. Oh, look at that for a block. He is outrageously good. Tiara just swats it away, and he keeps it in play, taken forward there by Amayo. It's all happening tonight, isn't it? Wow. And that is going to be a foul, I think, going against Kelvin Amayo. 6.5 seconds remaining.
It's really interesting, this game. End-to-end action, and looking at that replay as Chris Crawford denies access denied in that paint.
No foul, of course, and that's the end of the half. How about that? Lots of entertainment. Crawford standing up and being counted. But a good half there for AS Douanes. They'll want to stay ahead. They'll want to keep on doing this. Crawford with 13 as AS Douanes leads Stade Malien 33-29. AS Douanes leading Stade Malien by 4 points. And you can see that Al-Khali and Dor coming back out. The guys just ready to roll, ready to get the ball bouncing once again, because they want to get this third quarter going. They want to get themselves into this and start rolling again.
Yes, when you look at the attitude that they've been coming with to the third quarter, is something to build up on, and this today is the right moment to actually work on that. How they come back and how they react is what will be very key for them. We know that third quarters is very important in games of basketball, and whoever does well in this one, it could play a huge role in the last quarter.
Listen, you know, the Senegalese champions, they deserve to be here. They managed to oust Duke in the finals, of course, to win the National 1 and claim that title. They come up against, you know, a very tricky team. They've got this man here, Aliou Diarra. He's a wonderful player. He put in a fantastic performance in the last game, which was a win, 74-78 win against the Balkans. And just look at what he's achieved. Not doing as well this time round, but there's still a lot of basketball to be played.
Yes, there's a lot of basketball to be played. Aliou Diarra, of course, AS Douanes scouted him. They know what he can do, but he has the capability to explode in the second half of this game and actually be a very key player for Stade Malien. But talking to him before the game, he said, this is a game like any other game. They'll be treating it, yes, like a final, and they know that they have to work together as a team. It's not really up to him, you know, just to score the points. It has to be team effort. So let's see how they can operate and make that happen.
How do they make that happen? That's the big question. Q, do you have an answer for that?
It's all about desire. I know it sounds really simple, but the coach's job is to channel that desire into execution on the floor. And right now, for Stade Malien, they have to do a better job of controlling the rebound. They have allowed 11 offensive rebounds from AS Douanes. It's an area that they have dominated themselves, and that kind of narrative is a small adjustment that they can pick up on and try and improve, because AS Douanes are also playing for their lives in this one. Remember that in season 1, AS Douanes only picked up 1 win in the Basketball Africa League in season 1 against GSP. So they want to improve that record, and for their home fans, they really want to try and get into the playoffs on the road to Kigali.
And talking about, obviously, inspiration from the under-20 African champions who are here. They've brought the trophy. You have the Chan champions as well. There's a lot of football class and football excellence in the building that AS Douanes can get inspiration and motivation from.
Ready to go, ready to rock, ready for the third quarter. And there she is, Stephanie Barksdale of the United States of America. Was with us in the BAL last season. And there's the there are the stitches just on the corner of the eye of Chimalu.
Yes, I'm talking about Stephanie Barksdale from upstate New York. She decided to come here while much madness is happening across the USA. It's the second time she's at the BAL. She brings that experience, obviously, from the NBA G League. She's been a FIBA referee from 2014 and is one of the superstars and one of the inspirational female referees across the world.
Here we go. We're back in business here, third quarter. Ndour, AS Douanes leading by 4. Comes out wide. And a chance for a big score down the left-hand side for Ndai, but it doesn't happen. Racing down court to make sure that he's really close to Diarra. And a long-range shot, this time from Stade Malien, made safe. And out in the corner. And a high shot that goes over the top. Picked up by Kelvin Amayo. Here is Bertie. Diarra. I think that's looked like it was a foul by Ndai. Just stepped into Berthe. We'll go to there we go. Dor Crawford foul Ndai or Cheriobia. They just get the ball on the sidelines there.
And looking at the other side, Makan Keita, Amayo, Aliou Diarra, Berthe and Chinyelu.
Nicely done, Berthe underneath the basket, just rises up, takes a really neat pass, the dangerous duo, the combination. And, oh, that's just a little error because you can see that Keita gets a little tap in the face.
Looking at that replay, great finish from Souleymane Berthe, who's been very key for Stade Malien in this tournament so far, but good eyes, good execution, and it's 2 points for Stade Malien.
And they get possession back, so it's a 2-point game. Here is Keita. Keita with a mid-range 2. Back off the boards, made safe, picked up. Chinyelu. Back out to Keita. Keita goes on a bit of a wander, likes to wander. And there's a foul that's committed, and I think that was Cheriobia. There you go, just that right, it's that knee that just goes into Keita there as he tries to veer around him. Chinyelu, Berthe. Here is Amayo. Amayo going over the top. Doesn't get his range. Diarra off the boards. Made safe. And the rebound picked up by Ndai. Crawford. Cheriobia battles for the ball. He's got it in his hands. He shouldn't get, well, it's going to be a jump ball there, but sorry, it's Berthe who'll get possession.
It's a great attitude there from Aliou Diarra to fight for the ball because each possession is very key in this game. And a 2-point game, Rob.
33-31, we always knew it was going to be tight between these neighbours as Berthe tries to get the ball up to Chinyelu again. And rebounds, the offensive rebounds, very much a strong point for Stade Malien. And they're getting second, potentially third attempts at scoring the basket. Q, that must be a bit of a concern for Coach Papi Gay.
It's definitely a concern. He's having a look now, and they are under control. They like the way they're playing the offense. Beautiful feed, an easy finish. Amayo getting execution. And that's just another example of how well controlled they've been out of the break. They managed to tie it up.
But the concern is the defensive game for AS Douanes because they've thrown away their lead and now they've thrown away possession. And this time Crawford just allowing the ball to bounce away. Amayo into the hands of Makan Keita. Oh, he's dropped in, nicely done. Oh, he just comes off his feet. Yeah, it's Stephanie Baxtel saying that it's going to be AS Douanes. Came off the feet of Chinyelu.
And Chinyelu just owning up to Aliou Diarra and saying it's his bad as they assemble back to play defense against AS Douanes.
Crawford looking to skip through a bit of space, and of course all of the vines try and get him tangled up as he tries to march through. Never that easy.
It's never easy, especially when you have Amayo defending him.
Cheriobia. Well, again, it's just knocked out in it. They'll get possession back in their hands, but they're not scoring from their possessions, and that must be very concerning.
It's really good hands there from Souleymane Berthe to deny that easy pass.
Long range shots, he falls onto backside Crawford. A little bit scrappy. The plays, they're not scoring consistently from end to end. Q, it's a little bit of unnerving from both coaches' side, I imagine, seeing these plays not really being completed.
Something's got to give, and now, right now AS1 are in the penalty. They picked up their 15th foul, so that's going to continue with this team. They've got to keep their hands off the defense, and they've got to look to get an execution, and it's probably going to come courtesy of Crawford.
They regain possession. Nicely done. Al-Khali and Dor, that's a good pass to Crawford. Crawford gets knocked over by Berthe, and Berthe will pick up his first foul.
It has really been a very busy day for Chris Crawford, and that could have been a great pass from Al-Khali and Dor, but there was Aliou Diarra and Suleiman Berthe in that pen. And looking at Al-Khali and Dor, he was trying to help Crawford get up and his lead as well, but there was teamwork. There was enough people to sustain the four of them.
Crawford 13 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Chance to top it up a little bit from the free throw line. Gets the first one, top scorer. And in fact, it's quite surprising, isn't it? But he's the only player in double figures so far.
It's been a low-scoring game, and looking at 5 of 15 on the free throw line, 33%.
33%. Berthe. Under a little bit of pressure. That's really good work. That is excellent battling coming in from Samba Fall. And he tussles and he manages to make the steal. Just look at this. Perseverance pays off. And really got his grapple hooks on the ball and made sure it was his. Al-Khali and Dor. It opens up. That's really nice. Charging from Barra and Dye. He did it at the start of the first quarter, and then he goes on a one-man mission there and holds on using great strength.
He's been knocking on that door, trying everything he can on the offensive end, and finally it pays off on that front. It's 7 points for Barandiai, and you can see that it's a 4th team foul for Stade Malien.
Yeah, and it was Aliou Diarra who picked up that foul, that personal. Picked up by Makan Keita. The danger men in position. Keita's there. Waits for a little bit of support. He's got Kelvin Amayo outside, goes for a long-range three-pointer. Off the metal, shot clock down to 0. But there was contact, and they will get possession back. A little bit fortunate there.
Looking at the replay, the ball touched the rim.
And then afterwards it was Michael Ocherobia who got a fingertip to it. Chiniello.
It's good defense there from Marcus Crawford. He's doing so much on offense, on defense, and also being a leader for AS Douanes. He has more experience than most of the players on the court. Of course, with Ocherodi as well, who's played in 8 countries across the world, in the USA, in Germany, in Spain, France, Romania, Italy, UK, and now Senegal. And you can see that experience on the court from Ocherodi.
Shot clock down to 0, and that's too late. It won't count. So that was a beautiful effort. A wonderful long-range big shot from downtown that even Q would be proud of.
Very proud if it was done within the shot clock going off.
Not the case. 5:25 and a 5-point lead. And these are the moments that really frustrate coaches when you give the ball back to your opponents, you know, just at a good time when you're moving in the right direction. Very frustrating. Just have a look at this again.
Well, that's very intense defense. It's 3 personal fouls for Cherobia.
You just got to be smart, you know, and these are the ones in no man's land. And then all of a sudden they get possession back, hassling Berthe on that occasion.
Talk about hassling. It is timeout for Kabakante.
I think we're going to take a break, Usher. 38-33, AS Douanes lead with 5 left in the third. The battle continues here in Dakar. AS Douanes, home team, up against Stade Malien. It's a 5-point difference between these two neighbours of West Africa. And Alkali and Dor to Crawford. Crawford with a big long-range shot. It comes off the metal and doesn't sink. Picked up on the other side. Keita's back on the floor. And Mayo trying to get past Ndor. A little bit tricky. Keita, Makan Keita it is. And a turn and an attempt from Barry. Barry tries to find his way, trying to wriggle his way between traffic. And it's wrestled down on the ground. A bit of a scramble taking place there.
Well, that's been a very interesting battle between Aliou Diarra and Mohamed Pare. And they really have a facial resemblance, I can tell you.
Most definitely. Now, talking of resemblance, I'm resembling something at the moment. We've got a man called Q on the other side of the court. Q, give us the latest from those timeouts. Well, just look at that.
And a chance to go to Bobby Gay's timeout, and what he really was focused in on was getting to try and exploit this foul situation. They're going to look to go inside, and they're going to primarily play through Crawford and see if he can't get himself to either the free throw line or get execution from a Cherobia or one of the bigs on the interior.
Long range shot coming in. It's a beautiful 3-pointer from Keita. Mamadou Keita from out wide in the suburbs.
Well, that's 3 for 4 for Mamadou Keita from behind the arc. Can feel the efficiency. He has the hot hand, and they just have to keep giving him that ball.
That is stunning. Look at that for a score from Mr. Crawford. Brilliant stuff. 40-36. Just when Stade Malien look like they're coming back in, they push ahead. Crawford keeping them at arm's length. Amayo. Keita to Diarra. Diarra just can't get his range. Can't get his hands around and get the target sorted. Crawford. Oh, he's done it again. Crawford with more points to throw onto his pile. He's now up to 19.
That's a great performance from Crawford. He's led the way for this AS Douanes side and just giving them the confidence that they need to attack Stade Malien.
Diarra picks it up. Diarra! A beautiful dunk, making that statement big time for Stade Malien.
Diarra just reminding everybody of what he can do on the offensive side, just dropping that dunk easy, and 2 points for Stade Malien.
But he's still no one into double figures for Stade Malien, but you can see that that man Mamadou Keita up to 9 points and showing a real threat offensively. He's not the only one on 9 points. We've got there's Diarra and Keita, of course, and Berthe down there with 8.
And looking at Alkali Dur as he goes to the charity line, one of the players who returned to this squad from AS Douanes side that competed in the first ever BAL edition in 2021 in Kigali.
Look at that, and you know, it's a sign of incredible athleticism when you can rise up, use the power, your muscles tighten up as you try and reach up and get out of the thicket, above into the clouds to drain the ball. You know, it's not easy, Q, is it?
Not easy at all, and he's got lots of wingspan to help him do that as well.
Wingspan helps. They get it. It's a loss of possession here. Very frustrating. This is Mohamed Pare is the player, and there was a bit of a body movement there as we saw the gesture made by Stephanie Barksdale to indicate what he did wrong.
Yeah, the screen was moving. It was a moving screen. There's absolutely no way that's not a foul. So good call, but he has 4 personal fouls and is heading to the bench as Chinyelu replaces him.
Chimiello. I think I called him Chomche earlier on, but I've got a fascination with the BAL Elevate players who are just so good, and I think that it's important that we bring out all of their names if we possibly can, even if I get it wrong. So I apologise for that as Crawford goes up for 2.
Well, absolutely no one blames you, Robbie. It's absolutely forgivable.
Thank you so much, Asha. Keita, it's massive, but it doesn't fall. Chomielu goes looking for it, but it's too fast and it goes out of bounds. 42-38. This is still a very tight tussle. We've got 2:20 left in the third. It's going to go to the wire, I think, this one, Asha. Just get a feeling that it's going to be tight right until the very end. AS Douanes need to win this, remember. Stade Malien got 1, and they've lost 1.
Absolutely, for AS Douanes to have a chance to go to the playoffs, they'll need to register that W today, but also really for the fans who've traveled all the way from Dakar to Jamniado, where the Dakar Arena is.
Oh, that's a really good charge through into the paint by Keita, but he doesn't manage to finish off what he started. Here's Boissy. Boissy just waits for a little bit of support, and he gets it from Crawford, tries to get the pass, unable to drop it down, coming from underneath the basketball ring. And that will be a foul, and it will go against Tamanjan Konate.
We're looking at the replay there as Chinyelu tries to get the ball from...
Sorry, Chinyelu, not Konate. You're absolutely spot on. Thank you, Asha.
Jai, yes. But really just looking at Baran Jai's impact on the offensive play for AS Douanes. He's been in the paint, hassling for every ball on offense, on defense, and that sort of fight is what you expect from a side that is desperate for victory tonight. And as he heads to the line, you can see that he's already scored 8 points in this game. He wants to add to that scoreline as AS Douanes look to maintain that lead. 8 points, 8 rebounds. It's been quite the show for Baran Jai, who started for AS Douanes, the Senegalese champions tonight against Stade Malien.
42-38, and 1:30 left in the third quarter. Ocherobia tries to use his strength to wrestle the ball, but it's going to be an easy score for Berthe with the layup unchallenged. And it's a 2-point game now. It's up to AS Douanes to make inroads. They're giving the ball away once again. Keita. Right, rolls back out, thrown up very quickly. Diop with the, oh, it's put in time, beautifully done. And he needed to come to the rescue there, Samba foul.
Well, looking at Boissy and how he attacked the basket, that's the fearlessness that you need in a game like this one. And Samba foul available to clean up 2 points as Boissy heads to the charity line.
It was a beautiful play. Won't count though, and 2 free throws coming from that charity stripe.
Thanks, Q.
We're looking at AS Douanes on the free throw line. They're shooting at 45% so far. Not good enough, because when you talk about a free throw line, there's a reason why it's called a free throw line. It's free, there's no defense. And he makes 1 of 2.
1 of 2 is better than nothing. It's Sachiro Boissy. Boissy goes again. Look at Boissy. Unbelievable score. Massive score that is for Boissy. Gets caught up in the traffic afterwards, but straight back up onto his feet. And they got a 5-point lead from that at a crucial time in the game.
He hassled for the ball. He got it. He made it count on the other side alone, and that's what you want from your point guard.
Ocherobia doing really well to get that out. Long range shot doesn't happen. A good rebound and a great rebound coming in from Brian Manning. And a 7-point lead. And it's all opened up. Berthe tries to drop it in, gets 2 points. They still got a chance to score. They got to move quickly though. Shot clock down to 6 seconds.
And looking at both teams, AS Douanes have scored 30 points in the paint as compared to 26 for Stade Malien. Big game for the front court of both teams.
47 for AS Douanes, 42 for Stade Malien. Break time, we'll be back for the final quarter. Yes, we're back for what should be an enthralling finale here at the Dakar Arena for this Sahara Conference. Such an important 10 minutes of basketball coming up as AS Douanes hold on to a 5-point lead against Stade Malien in search of their first victory in their third outing here in the BAL.
It is quite the fight that AS Douanes have put up tonight. They'll be proud of the performance. The fans can agree with that. But it's the last quarter that will determine their fate. They must deliver, they must be focused, and that will be something that perhaps Q heard from Coach Papi's timeout.
Well, I was on the other side. Coach Kabakante was really emphasizing his offensive execution. He said nothing about defense. They managed to claw back some offensive rebounds and control the boards better in that third quarter. But here in the fourth, he wants triple penetrations inside the paint, and if they can, just create some shot opportunities along the baseline. But look for them to attack the paint hard.
Yeah, we will keep our eyes on that. I think that, you know, it's going to be the tail of this fourth quarter because that's the only way that you can actually get your win. We've also got players who are in, you know, got 3 fouls, personal fouls as well, so they've got to be careful in the opening few minutes of this fourth quarter as we see Berthe getting the ball out wide, tries to drop it in, the long-range shot coming in, but it's not going to happen. Possession going back. Crawford screaming with joy on the side of the court because he knows that that possession is going to be important for AS Douanes.
Talking about possessions, Boissy has been incredible on defense every time he's been on the court and giving that energy every time Alcalin Dur is on the bench. And let's see how he leads this offensive
That's
play.
fantastic play from Jean-Jacques Boissy. When he sees a glimmer of a chance of just driving through the paint, he'll take it every time. The acceleration will enable him to put himself into a good attacking position.
He's relentless, and you can see that in every decision that he makes.
And it's a long-range shot, poor shot decision, I think, for Berthe, because look what's happening at the other end. Oh, there's a third chance, and he picks up possession once again. A little bit lucky there, you can see, with Konate getting it up the other end very swiftly. Ball goes out of play. And they will get possession against Stade Malien, but how crazy was this? You've got to take the points when they come like that.
It was really 3 against 1 at some point, and looking at how they lost that ball is very reckless from AS Douanes.
You know, these are the points that you've got to take advantage of, and Coach Papi Gay knows that. He knows that so much, and he wants his players to make sure that when they do get into those situations, they make sure the points go up on the scoreboard. Otherwise, you know, they'll pay their price because Stade Malien are a team that offensively move in quick transition.
It is really the second time that Konate has been called for traveling. He needs to really work on his footwork, as you see Stade Malien trying to reduce that deficit.
Crawford around the outside. Manning wide to Diop. Manning goes up. He's trying to float it over the top. It doesn't happen. There's a good rebound. That is perfectly done. You know, Boissy, when he wants to play, he can turn it on. He hits 5th gear big time when he wants.
Absolutely incredible. He's the second AS Douanes player in double figures. 10 points for him so far. Massive performance tonight.
And again, it's the shot decisions coming in from Stade Malien, maybe not the right ones. This is going up. Oh, there was a little bit of dysfunction, and they've got to make sure that they understand what they're doing between each other. Amaning this time finishes it off, but a little bit concerning before, but it doesn't matter. The points are in the bag, that's all that matters. It's a 9-point lead that's now moved to 11, and now we're going to take a break with 7:30 left on the clock. AS Douanes have just basically made a major statement in scoring some very important scores. Boissy coming in and just basically charging in and saying, yeah, we're going to move into pole position. 53-42, an 11-point lead. AS Douanes and this man Amayo on the outside. Diarra picks it up. He's got it out to Makan Keita. Sissoma with a big shot that comes in. It's been tidied up. Look what Boissy does. Boissy, he's moving, gets the ball out wide. Diop. And Manning again, showing us what he's capable of doing.
That's a big basket from Manning. Timely. They needed that to just extend that lead and just get that confidence that they need from that break.
We need confidence coming from all directions. Q, have you got? Is there any confidence on the on the bench for the Stade Malien?
On the Stade Malien bench, they've decided that they're going to try and extend the game by attempting from the perimeter. So what we'll see, I think, is a lot more movement around the outside. They're going to shoot, chase down rebounds, and hope that that's the strategy that's going to work. We've seen how successful AS Douanes have been on the other end by getting the ball on the inside. So interesting what is to come.
Cavalcante will obviously try and work his magic around the outside, but let's have a look at the game summary here. The three-pointers haven't been coming in, they haven't been falling, Usher.
Yes, they haven't been falling. It's 3 for 16 for AS Douanes since Crawford almost had a perfect percentage earlier in the first half of this game. But just looking at Stade Malien as well, they've been struggling behind the arc. But at this point, it's really driving into that paint and seeing how easy they can get those baskets. And also on the free throw line. But a little bit worrying for AS Douanes as Manning picked up his third personal foul. And that could play a huge role in this fixture, but he'll stay on the court as Coach Papi still has trust in him. Ocherabia as well, helping in the paint.
A little bit of a court press taking place here as the ball comes out, but that just leaves it all open for this AS Douanes team. Couldn't smash it in there. It was a great opportunity for Ocherabia. And again, we can see that the quick transition. Look at that, that's the perfect pass. Tries to get it up, but there was a back off the boards. Manning not happy, and Ocherabia not happy either, but of course they go to the free throw line and it's a chance for them to extend that advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. The London-based pair having a word there, Manning and Ocherabia from Ghana and Nigeria, respectively, just showing some promise. No jollof was there, no jollof rice was, just two players that are brothers in this AS Douanes side, but really it's going to be very key for them to stay focused. There's 6 minutes to play in the game so far. It's a 12-point game, and every possession matters.
Here we go with that man, Makan Keita, just getting the ball down into the corner, picked up by Parry. Parry's on, of course, and sorry, Kelvin Amayo, and the ball will get given back to the men in black. Stade Malien, Bete waiting to take the pass. Here they go, Diarra out wide. Sissuma with a chance, it's a long-range shot. That's his second attempt at a big three-pointer that you talked about, Q, that hasn't fallen. And Boissy picks it up, Crawford's there, and the movement continues. Let's see if they can prize open the Stade Malien defense. Crawford into the paint, drops it up. Oh, that's a good attempt, but it was just a little bit behind Ocherabia. He couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, it was good eyes from Chris Crawford, but he fell short. It's seconds in the paint. Aliou Diarra has been caught.
You can see the shake of the head there, Usher, and you know, these are the little errors that can't seep into your game. You know, Q, you mentioned get the ball outside, you know, as much as possible. But when you've got the players coming through, they've got to get out. You've got to be smart about it. These are little errors.
Yes, they've got to get a little bit better at the execution, but there's still 5 minutes left. There's enough time for them to turn this around, but they've got to start on the defensive end.
Got to start on the defensive end. There's a Manning. Oh, it's a beautiful backing. Look at the flamingo hand at the end. That's where it's going to go. Perfectly shot, and a very important score there. 15 points they lead. The rhythm and the rhyme here in the Dakar arena. Boissy goes down, and the elbow goes up, and Diarra's in a little bit of trouble here.
Diarra needs to stay focused. He's been frustrated on back-to-back positions for Stade Malien. 3 seconds on the earlier, and looking at that replay there, the elbow on Boissy.
Yeah, that was, you know, when you stretch out your arm, you know that you're being tightly marked, but you're also trying to make your space, but you've got to be aware of who's around you. You know, you can't just go rolling in and you know, pretending that it's okay, right, Q?
Absolutely right, Robbie. You've been watching a lot of basketball of late, and you got the call right. The referees are still deciding whether they want to scale this up.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to call the instant replay trigger.
Yeah, normally in basketball you would say that's his space, but then, the elbow kind of went far, Robbie. And I know you played basketball, Robbie.
No, I did. I played when I was in school until I realized that I wasn't going to grow up bigger than what I am now. But I mean, you know, I think that the fact is that, you know, when your arm's coming away from your body and it goes back to a certain level, you know, when you've got the ball in your hand, you're holding the ball. That's the problem. If he was defending, your arms can come out, you can broaden, you know, and stretch out your wings, of course. But when you've got the ball in your hand and it goes out, that's where you've got to be a little bit careful, because that could be seen as intentional. So we will see now from this interpretation from the replay.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the Stade Malien players, they're looking at what should be the replay and hoping that the decision goes their way.
It's a big call, this is, because it's not just anybody, it's Aliou Diarra, key player for Stade Malien.
Talking about key player, he's been incredible on the night. Not exactly what we saw in the last game, but 9 points. He's been hustling in the paint. Of course, Douanes scouted him. They know he's a danger on defense and on offense. He's also the leading rebounder in the Sahara Conference so far, averaging 14.5 rebounds per game. But he's been quiet on that front tonight.
And there you have it, Robbie. They have upgraded the foul call, so it's no longer a common foul, now ruled unsportsmanlike. And that's going to be 2 shots and possession on Diarra.
Yeah, that's a big blow, isn't it? And, you know, just at a moment where you're going to get yourself into a pretty good position. They're in possession, they give it away. And we've got all of the information that we need. But here we have Boissy, who goes to the free throw line. And again, they find themselves in a complicated situation, Q.
The lead is starting to balloon, and this is 2 quick free throws from Boissy, who's been pretty great. They have a chance to take it to 19, and that score now starting to become a real factor with the limited amount of time left.
And it will be psychological as well, and I think that will play an important part on how the players can deal with this, because they're going to fight a little bit more aggressively. Trailing by 17 is not a good place to be with so little time left on the clock. So you've got to be smart about how you defend, but also how you attack.
Yes, it's a very difficult night for Stade Malien, as it looks like there's a technical foul on the bench to the Stade Malien players from referee Antonio Bernardo from Angola. And Boissy, who delivered before, is heading to the charity line.
Hughes literally sat on the bench, so I'm sure that he can give us some extra insight on this.
And that's the correct call. Usher got it right the first time. Call on the bench here, a little bit of dissent, and referee quick to make the tech call.
Good work, guys. There's teamwork, isn't it? There's a big giant T to teamwork.
Well, Q, I hope you don't give me a technical foul.
Never that.
Otherwise, we'll get you to try out your djembe experience up with the drummers. We'll get you on the talking drums.
Wow.
62-44, 5 minutes and 5 seconds remaining here at the Dakar Arena. Manning in possession. Down into the corners, Crawford up against Berthe. Running out of space and running out of place. And he's been called for the charging offence on that occasion. Crawford, a little bit miffed by that, but let's have a look. There it is, that left shoulder just digging into Berthe. It's the right call.
Well, it will be interesting how Douanes tried to approach the remaining minutes. And on the other side, again, Crawford with another foul in less than 10 seconds.
This is going to get physical. You know, all of the arrows point towards a physical finale, because frustrated team on one side who want to try and get possession, win ball back, and on the other side, you've obviously got a team who are going to try and, you know, just detonate, you know, or just extract the venom that's being created within this Stade Malien team.
Well, absolutely. And now looking at Chris Crawford is the leader on the court for Douanes. How exactly is he going to lead this team to play out this game? Can they maintain that lead? On the offensive side, they need to run down that clock. On defense, they need to try and stay clear of fouling, because they're already in the red right now. Any foul on Stade Malien, and they'll be heading to the free throw line.
Berthe doing the business from the free throw line, and the tussle, and you can see that the full court press taking place. There's a lot of man marking taking place, the kind of physical game that Q absolutely adores, and that played so well at it over his years of playing professionally. Umarobia using that body to churn and spin, but there is a Diarra foul that's been committed, and this is putting him in trouble. He's on 4 now.
Well, talking about Aliou Diarra, it's a mismatch for Chiroba. He can feel it once he puts his body on Aliou Diarra, and he's forced, you know, to move, and that movement is what is the foul for Aliou Diarra, and danger for Stade Malien. 4 fouls for one of their best players, one of their starters who's been very key in their campaign so far at the Sahara Conference in their debut season in the BAL. But it looks like he's a man who knows how to handle himself, Aliou Diarra.
Yeah, Q, how important is it for bigs to have elbow grease? And if you don't get that elbow grease, you can't move around, and it makes you really frustrated, right?
Elbow grease, you just need to make sure that you spend some time in the weight room as well. The ability to handle the contact, especially with this physicality that we're seeing, very, very important.
And this is every phase that we're actually seeing now is turning into a bit of a wrestling match, which is quite apt because, of course, Senegal, we've got some wonderful you know, wrestlers here in this country. They are the best in the world. But the fact is that, you know, this is really, really important to be able to deal with the defensive game and just not give away the points or the free throw shots and the fouls, because we've got to a critical time. And you just got to be smart on how you deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at Bako, the famous Senegalese fan, #1 fan of Senegal. He just arrived from Egypt, where he was cheering Senegal at the Africa Cup of Nations under 20. They won gold. Perhaps he was the reason they won gold, Robbie.
Well, he goes to every Senegal game, doesn't he? And that hat is just as famous as Paco. It's like, you know, everybody knows who it belongs to. You won't see a hat like that anywhere else in the world. Here it is, Otoroya, beautifully done. Takes a long pass and makes sure that that is drained in a big way. And a big statement there for Douanes, extending their lead once again. They got a 20-point lead, first time they've hit the 20-point mark. 4 minutes to go. And there's Berthe, drops it in, and a fine score coming in from Chinyelo.
Chinyelo is one of the players that have really come to light at the BAL, and he brings that threat in the paint.
Amaning doing really well. That's a really fine score. The big man using that body, goes left, goes right, decides to do a little spin, and then afterwards just drops it in. Sumptuous stuff. Sissoma with a chance to try and drop in a big long-range shot. Crawford's there again, taking the ball up into enemy territory.
And looking at what Crawford is trying to do, run down the clock.
Cherobia working really hard, unable to get the ball. He wins, he gets it back, and it's flying left, right, and centre. And Diop makes it safe. Boissy says, let's calm down a little bit. Shot clock back to 14, and he goes on a bit of a wander, runs into trouble, gets the pass out wide. Nicely done with Crawford, but he can't make the right pass. At the other end, surely this is going to be an easy drop in there by that man, Berthe. But still, there's a big, big lead taking place with 2:50 to go. It's 68-50. Well, Usher. I think that Crawford's doing some really, really interesting plays, and he's keeping this AS Douanes team really clicking. They're working quite well together, and they're making sure that it's complicated for Stade Malien, and then defensively they're holding fort at the back. Stade Malien unable to drop those shots in.
Yes, absolutely. Talking about Chris Crawford, he's been a leader tonight. Looking at that nice assist to Ochereba in the paint. Marcus Crawford, he's been incredible for AS Douanes. Yes, the figures show that he is 19 points on the board, and especially on a night where we don't have Terrell Stoglin, who's the one player that has scored the most points in the history of the BAL, 40 points in a single game. But Crawford, 19 points, 3 assists, 2 blocks, big night. Such a performance for a player of his caliber is what AS Douanes need. And now they're 2 minutes, 50 seconds away from what could be their first victory, the Senegalese champions.
And it's important, of course, for the home team here in Senegal to make their mark, to actually to say, right guys, we're here, we're going to get ourselves into this BAL, this 3rd season, and we're gonna fight for a place in Kigali in the playoffs. The top 4 of 6 go through, and they will be joined by the top 4 of 6 in the Nile Conference, which will take place in Cairo next month.
Well, absolutely. Talking about Cairo, some of the players here have indicated that Egypt is one of their destinations that they would love to visit. But first, they have some work to do in the Sahara Conference.
That was the charge through coming from Matthew Bryan and Manning. And is that Berthe? No, it's not, sorry, it's Chinyelu who comes across, and Chinyelu picks up his 3rd foul. And Manning will go to the free throw line. And again, it's just clock's ticking away, but it's stop-start at the moment. It's not really having a major effect on AS Douanes and their focus on what they're trying to do here tonight.
Yeah, AS Douanes have been very consistent right from the first quarter, backed by the fans who've come in huge numbers to support them. And they can smell the victory. They can see it, they can smell it. Can they touch it?
Well, let's see if the Senegality style will enable them to battle through into their first victory tonight. 68-50. And the free throws, oh, it's a beautiful effort, beautiful shot coming in down on that far side there. Very important from Traore. Crawford, and an easy dunk there. Taken well by Michael Ocherobia.
Ocherobia just having a great night tonight for AS Douanes, the former University of Western Illinois student, just having fun down here in Senegal, introducing himself to African basketball.
Nicely done, Konate. There he is, Chinyelu. Chinyelu tries to rise up. The foul has been committed. Looks like it's a Manning who gets in the way.
Looking at the assist from Crawford to Ocherova on the other end of the court. Good bromance Great distribution, good eyes from Crawford on a night that he'll be very proud of his own individual performance, but also of his teammates if they go on to win.
Chiniello drops in. Point goes up on the scoreboard. 70-54, they're giving the ball back away. Keita, this is an easy score normally for Kanate, does the business there beautifully. And it does drop, and they go again.
Good attitude from Stade Malien, who are now playing full court press on AS Douanes. Of course they know AS Douanes want to run down the clock and waste time. And you can't blame them, Robbie.
No, it's a mid-range two for Chris Crawford, beautifully done. And he gets into past the 20-point barrier, 21 points for the American.
21 points for the man who's been perfect on the free throw line in a performance that has been incredible.
Well, a little bit of the greasy hands just enables Mohamed Paré to get himself points. He's on 4 fouls, but it doesn't matter because he's coming on for the last couple of minutes. Crawford gets the ball out to Ndor. Ndor's been slick as well. Good distribution. When Boissy hasn't been on the floor, he's been just playing some really good basketball, good distribution. And they go again. There's the attempt at the reversed layup, but finally it's put in perfectly by Mamadou Diop.
Great backup there from Mamadou Diop to clean up.
Well committed. And free throw line, we will go. 42.6 seconds, that's a 15th foul. And we'll go and hear from Q now. Q, what's I think it's just it's running out the last few seconds, right? I think they've got to just basically accept the fact that it's over. And there's Crawford, just with a little replay there. Yeah, over to you, Q.
Well, really just a good performance here by Chris Crawford in an individual capacity. They've done something a little bit different. Their points in the paint up to 44 points now as they continue to punt the ball inside. I think it's been a primary difference in the performance from this AS Douanes team. Stade Malien were well matched inside the paint is where their strength lies, and I think that was the primary difference in what we saw from the home team.
Thank you, Q. 74-58, and we'll get the reaction from Chris Crawford at the end of this game, as logically it's all about AS Douanes getting their first victory, and Crawford standing up and saying, I'm here, and I'll take these. I'll help the Senegalese team try and get through this Sahara Conference scramble on the ground. It's all good. Paré up against Ndor. 31.3 seconds remaining. Stade Malien get possession back. This is quite interesting now, Asha, because it has shaken things up a little bit. We now have AS Douanes who are going to be in the mix with a win. Stade Malien who've got a win. Quara Falcons without a win, but they'll be going for one tomorrow. It's all looking very interesting and entertaining. Lots of drama here in Dakar.
Yes, and we came for the drama, and drama it is. We thank AS Douanes for bringing that up and just making this one interesting, the Sahara Conference, but also really for the home fans who've been coming out from Dakar to Jamniado, which is the neighborhood where the Dakar Arena is. It's a big night for the Senegalese champions.
A big night indeed, and Papi Gay and AS Douanes celebrates their first victory here in the Sahara Conference. 74-58, the final score. Congratulations, the Jumbies. Well, they're making a lot of rhythm and rhyme. There's a lot of happy people here tonight because, yeah, a team's got off the mark, and they've most importantly notched up an important victory that will just put them in a good place before their next couple of games that they've got to play in their quest to qualify for the playoffs in Kigali.
Well, for the third game of a BAL season, Sahara Conference played here in Dakar, a Senegalese champion has come alive and registered their first victory. Last year it was Duke against Reg. This year it is AS Douanes against Stade Malien, and you can see what this means for the Senegalese champions. Diaye celebrating and high-fiving
Chris
fans.
Crawford with 21 points is about to be joined by Q for a little interview. So let's go across to Q and join the MVP.
Thank you very much, Robbie. Courtside with the MVP, Chris Crawford, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, but I think more importantly, the win. What was different today for you?
Just trying to come out here and have more energy than we had in the first 2 games. I'm just proud of my guys. We came out, executed the plan, and got a win for the Senegalese fans. I'm just happy about that.
It looked like it was a different point of emphasis. You try to push the ball inside. Is that fair? Is that a strategy that worked?
Yeah, just try to keep pressure on the defense and just trying to keep attacking to make plays for my teammates. You know, you're going to need your whole team to win a game, so just trying to do my best at that.
What does this win mean for you and for the team, and how important was it?
It's everything for the team, for the fans here. We just want them to keep coming out every game, supporting us, and we got another game tomorrow. Hopefully we can come out here and pack it out again and get a win for them.
Congratulations, great performance today.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Q. Well, there we have it, Marcus Crawford. Chris Crawford, the man who's managed to up his game from the last outing, 21 points to 15, 36% from field goals. The assists 4 and a couple of steals, but 9 points scored from the 3-point range, and that is a solid game. Vast improvement. He stepped it up. Paco's happy. The hat's looking great. And the Senegalese fans have got lots of rhythm and rhyme, Asha. It's a good scenario as we take a look at the game stats.
Yeah, looking at the game stats, Bran Amaning with 14 points, 6 rebounds. Jean-Jacques Boissy, 13 points and 4 rebounds. He was incredible. Barajai starting under 5 players for Douanes, 8 points, 8 rebounds, and Ocherebi, 8 points, 7 rebounds. On the other side for Stade Malien, Suleiman Bert again in double figures, 17 points, but really that was not enough to help the Malian champions to pick their second victory at this Sahara Conference.
Here we go then, this is the final score as you can see, and the field goal percentage, Douanes just keeping it at 40%, and the assists 16 to 15 steals, Stade Malien with 1 more, and level on the 3 points. Expected a few more from falling from outside the D, but it didn't happen. A lot of it was scored from the inside. This is what happens following that victory. Douanes move up to 4th position because of that win over Stade Malien, with ABC Fighters from their win over US Monastir earlier today, moving into 2nd place. Reg are top, they've already qualified. The battle is on. Quara Falcons will play AS Douanes tomorrow. That's the late game with Stade Malien again up against Reg. It's going to be tough for them, but they'll be fighting big time. And Coach Kaba Kante will want to get a win against Reg. We'll have to see what happens. Lots of shenanigans, lots of drama to unfold tomorrow. Asha, Q, thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow.